Hey everyone, welcome back to a special episode. We are doing our year-end wrestling award. That means all four of us are back together once again, the four horsemen, whatever you want to call us, the NWO, the DX, the Bullet Club, the LIJ of wrestling review shows, I guess. Whatever you want to call us, we are here. We are back, honored by his presence. Once again, we have the muscle man himself, Muscles Marinara. Nick, welcome back. Putty has joined us once again, right below Campo. He has joined us once again to provide us with whatever the heck he's doing. And Campo, once again, the man who reviews wrestling on top of movies and TV shows, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour.
Hey, I just want to say our version of the Horseman is where Putty is Paul Roma.
Oh, please, I hope that doesn't make me Mongo McMichael.
No, you're cool. You're the woman of the group, or Deborah.
I don't know if I regret things that happened earlier at this moment or not.
Caps has to be Arn Anderson because he's the enforcer.
He's the enforcer, definitely, definitely. You'd be the Ric Flair.
I'll be
then.
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett.
JJ.
It's the worst possible incarnation.
Brian Pillman.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so this year, this is our first of many, hopefully, to come. This is our year-end wrestling awards show. We're going to give out categories. We're going to give out some nominees for some categories. Some are just absolute winners, and we are also going to get Putties and Caps' picks on who they think some of these might be. Our first category is going to be our tag team of the year. Some of the nominees in this category were, where are we? We had FTR in the category. We have the Acclaimed, the Briscoes, the Usos, Street Profits, Aussie Open, Rock and Roll Express, and the Motor City Machine Guns in this category.
Not ironically, the Rock and Roll Express. They're actually there.
They actually had a good year. For guys in their almost 70s, the Rock and Roll Express had a good year this year. Now, I know Caps and Putty, you guys haven't watched as much this year. Who would you guys pick, personal picks, as your tag team of the year? And the Bucks, the Young Bucks, and the Lucha Brothers are there too.
I'd probably go with FTR in terms of consistency and bringing in that old school feel, but just overall throughout the whole year, I would probably have them as the number one tag team. I mean, some of those other guys that you've mentioned, I mean, didn't really catch on until like later on in the year, like the Acclaim, but FTR, I'd probably have them on top of my list.
Putty, FTR or Lucha Brothers?
It was well. See, here's the thing. Even though I do love the Lucha Brothers, FTR. Since I only really got to watch like the first half of the year when it comes to it, FTR did a lot in that first half of the year,
and they're still doing a lot.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. So it's funny too. I'll get recommendations on stuff like on Twitter and things like that, and it's always either FTR in that situation. So I'm very happy that they're still going out there and grinding. So yeah, I kind of figured we'd always say that. I don't know if we all do agree, but I kind of figured that. But at the same time, I don't know what happened in the last half of the year, so it's made me curious too.
Well, who won?
Campo, you know who won. I'll let you reveal this one.
The winners of this award for best tag team is FTR.
There was no other choice. Yeah, FTR is definitely the winner of this category. They've had, from beginning to end of this year, they have constantly put on some of the best matches we've ever seen.
Even their single matches are pretty good too.
Yeah, they have. They have that match Dax had against Daniel Bryan a few months ago, or Bryan Danielson a few months ago, was fantastic. So congratulations to FTR. You are our tag team of the year. Campo, our best announcer, we agreed upon this off camera. This year, it has to go to Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, well, that's right. We agreed Booker T will win this award. Okay, I'm making a new award. So Kevin Kelly is best announcer, I think.
Yes.
It's not even close. If anything, Taz's dictionary would be second. But
I digress.
His thesaurus. But the worst announcer of the year is Booker T. Congratulations, Booker T.
Congratulations to Booker T. Oh my God. His announcing on that NXT event, the deadline, was absolutely atrocious.
The last two, Halloween Havoc as well.
Oh, he was pretty bad. They clearly miss Wade Barrett on that one.
They're trying to bring back Jerry Lawler.
Yeah,
Booker T.
And not in a good way.
So you clearly did not dig it, sucker, did you?
No,
No.
we didn't.
Tell me you didn't just say that. But from there, we will move on to our tag team match of the year. The nominees in this category were the Briscoes versus FTR round 2, which was the match they had at Death Before Dishonor. We have the Briscoes versus FTR 3, which is the match they had at Final Battle, that double dog collar match. Elite versus the Dark Order, which was earlier in the year. And Elite versus Death Triangle, which was also earlier in the year. And the Usos versus the Street Profits on the match from, I think it was Money in the Bank. And I know you guys probably don't know most of those matches, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this one. Match of the year, this one went to Briscoes and FTR round 2, the one they had at Final Battle. That match was an absolute typical classic tag team wrestling match. Their third match is just as good if you like the brutal ECW style tag matches, but FTR versus Briscoes 2 was our tag match of the year. Campo, any thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, I think when we're done filming this video, we might have to pause my video and go watch FTR versus Briscoes 3 for Putty and Nick.
For Putty and Nick, yes. So after that, we have I think we are doing our Rookie of the Year. This is one of those categories that we just chose. Our Rookie of the Year this year, it's one of those categories we just chose. Me and Campo, once again, off camera, we decided that Braun Breaker deserves Rookie of the Year this year.
I'm going to throw out a shout out to Shota Umino.
Yes, absolutely.
And even to Keshida. But yeah, Braun Breaker. Guy's a monster.
He has the best elements of his uncle and his father rolled. He's like we said on the other, like we joked about, he's a Frankensteiner of the two Steiners.
Nice, Frankensteiner. Yeah, and he's also headlined every NXT event.
Yeah, and he's put on decent matches for a guy who's only been he literally only started wrestling this the last year or so. I think Braun Breaker definitely deserves the honor of Rookie of the Year. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say it's funny too that you said that, because when you said the name, I was like, I know that name, but what does he look like? And when you use Rick Steiner and the Steiner brothers, that really made me my head go, okay, now I know exactly what you're talking about. It is. It's kind of uncanny too.
Yeah. From there, these are the next two categories. The next few categories. These are all predetermined categories as well. We are moving on to our Rookie Tag Team of the Year. Campo, who do we choose for this one?
Leo
Rush made his return to wrestling earlier this year in October to New Japan, teaming up with Yo, former of Roppongi 3K. They just won the World Super Junior Tag League. They're going to be facing Catch 22, which came close for Rookie of the Year at Wrestle Kingdom this year, but we had to give it to Yo and Leo Rush because their performance in just a short time was fantastic in the short time they've been together.
And it came in just under the end of the year mark. So
yeah, so it was just in time. Our trios of the year, Campo?
Death Triangle.
No choice. Same thing. They've been the champion for most of the year. They've been really the only relevant trios. Maybe next year we can add a few more to this category.
I think a lot of these will get more categories as we grow this, but
yeah,
we wanted to pick the Elite, but when you really think about it, at the end of the day, every good match the Elite have put on, minus the one against the Dark Order, has been against the Death Triangle.
Yeah.
And they've been the trios champions almost from the very start. So how can you not pick them? And I mean, you could also say Dalton Castle and the boys were pretty close.
Boys, yeah.
Because I'm not picking Evil Show and
House of Torture. Yeah. Then again, too, next year you could, if depending on how they're pushing House of Black, you could probably add House of Black to this list next year too.
See, that's the one I would like to see. And
yeah.
yeah.
So from there, we are moving on to our breakout star of the year. Our breakout star of the year is Carmelo Hayes of NXT. Congratulations to Carmelo Hayes. He has just put on banger match after banger match. This guy has been consistent for the company. Anytime he's on the card, he has put on a tremendous show. I feel if at this point they need to keep him in NXT for a little longer. I don't think they should move him to the main roster just yet because he's going to get lost in the shuffle.
I think that's fair.
So from there, we are going to move. Finally, here are the main categories. We are moving on to our pay-per-views of the year. So we are going to get your opinion. Caps, Putty, you guys have watched a few pay-per-views this year. What would you think was the pay-per-view that
Do you have their list?
Nope, that's on my old PC.
We're PC list.
Yeah.
I'll let you take that one.
Well, see, here's the thing. When I was trying to think earlier and everything, a lot of it was showing a lot of the later stuff and everything. I do the whole thing with Will Ospreay got in my head because of Campo and the whole thing with him and Orange Cassidy. And I don't even know if that would have been one that was nominated.
Yep,
but
that is one of the nominees on the list for
Yeah.
pay-per-view of the year was
And-
Forbidden Door.
Yeah, and Forbidden Door just in general had a lot of good matches in the first
Yeah.
place. So, I mean, is it basically the match or just the pay-per-view?
No, the
itself?
show, the show that you enjoyed the most this year.
Oh,
You had
definitely,
that one
it's
rated
familiar.
pretty high. You had WrestleMania Night 1 rated pretty high.
Yeah, but I think it was more. Yeah, I think it was more the whole excitement getting back into pay-per-views again. Honestly, Forbidden Door was way better in my eyes in that situation. I think so. I still think so. So yeah.
Not going to disagree with that.
I'll go with those ones. I mean, the Ospreay and Orange Cassidy match. That whole event was pretty cool. Seeing Austin come back for night one, that was pretty cool. The second night wasn't that great. The McMahon
Showed in
taking
our review.
McMahon taking that awful
The
stunner.
second
Stunner.
night is actually the lowest rated pay-per-view of our entire thing, but
Yeah.
because we counted them as a combined night, it never became that.
It's like it's so tragic too with the whole thing with Stone Cold because it's such a history there. But like,
Well,
to
his
botch
Kevin Owens
that-
match was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's my whole point though. For him to botch that visually and everything just in general, I was like, why would you even attempt to do this if you don't know if you could do this right? Like you're too old to do this, and it just
Yeah.
ruined the fantasy of it at all. Does that make sense? Like it really,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah,
killed
well-
it, unfortunately.
They can't
Yeah.
recreate the magic of 35 years ago or whatever it was.
Nope, they kind of took away some of that magic, unfortunately, when they did
Yeah.
that.
People will forget. So
Yeah.
Especially
Not
the
if-
WWE universe.
Yeah, not if Vince McMahon actually wants to come back.
He's not coming back.
But we agree with Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door was one of the highest rated pay-per-views of the year for us. But on Campo and I, we ended up going with the historic crossover, the New Japan Stardom event. This was one of our highest rated pay-per-views. This was the highest rated pay-per-view we did this year. I know you guys didn't watch it, but this match,
Well, Putty
was-
saw the one
Putty
match.
saw the main event.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing show from beginning to end. This was mine and Campo's first really foray into Stardom. And Campo, do anything you want to touch on about this event that won pay-per-view of the year?
I mean, if you want to see female wrestlers actually try
Good,
and
that was-
really actually punch each other in the face, then this is the event to watch.
That's the Iwatani and Kyrie match. They
So it was kind of like something that they had to prove in that situation.
Yeah, and it
it's
was.
so weird. It's so weird that it's at this point in our life, our time. You know what I mean? That's happening. But it's cool to see. I was kind of sad I wasn't there to experience it with you guys the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean? That's a big deal.
Well, you will be watching Wrestle Kingdom with us because I'm not
Yes.
really giving you a choice.
yes, Wrestle Kingdom needs to be watched.
All right.
So with that, the final four categories we are moving into, we are talking about our top female talent of the year. The nominees in this category are Bianca Belair, Jordan Grace, Mayu Iwatani, Shuri, Ronda Rousey, Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, Kyrie, and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, who would you guys pick as top female talent of the year?
Mandy Rose.
What was that list again? There's a few that I missed.
So Bianca Belair, Jordan Grace. The ones you would probably be familiar with, Putty,
Well,
are Bianca Belair,
yeah.
Ronda Rousey, Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa.
See, that's what, no, okay. You did pick 3 of the ones because, oh god dang. See, I didn't have time to plan this out because Bianca Belair, it really has, I feel like she's held up over their WWE, the women's, kept that going over there. But I loved the whole Toni Storm, Toni Storm and
Thunder Rosa.
Thank you. My brain went down on that. So I liked that combination when it finally came to be and everything. So there's, I don't know. I think
You did come up with the name of Thunderstorm.
I was
Yeah,
okay, I was
and it
very
actually
proud of
became
that.
the name.
Yeah, I was so proud of that. So that makes me kind of want to lean towards that. But honestly, Bianca Belair, she's been really doing good. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like she's supporting WWE. So if you want me to pick, I don't know. I can't really choose. I mean, if I have to, I guess Bianca. I don't know.
What about you, Caps? Any?
I mean, how do we base this on? Like we're talking about, like in terms of the development or the
development? It's development, match quality,
Characters,
character
Tony
arc,
too. Yeah.
championships held, kind of like what they did with the PW Insider.
Oh man. I mean, in terms of character development,
I mean, you were joking, but I mean, we can add Mandy Rose to that list because she held that belt.
I genuinely think I don't know how we didn't have Mandy Rose on the list.
yeah, I mean, like in terms of consistency, and I mean, Mandy Rose has probably improved a lot. I've seen maybe a couple of her matches, but she's improved a lot. In terms of character development, maybe Rhea Ripley. But man, it's really hard to ignore the fan base being behind what's her name, the Hader, what was
Jamie Hader?
Yeah. Like it's really hard to ignore the momentum, the amount of momentum that she has going on right now. So man, there's a lot of talent. Yeah, maybe Hader.
All good choices. Campo, the winner of this category is.
No, you'd say it. I got the next one.
Okay, this is Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair has held the belt since WrestleMania. She has literally single-handedly carried this women's division in the WWE right now. Her character development is still not the greatest, but her in-ring performance has improved tenfold. This woman was number 2 on the PW Insider, but when we rearranged the list, we put her at number 1 because just of the accomplishments she has done. We missed the boat on that Mandy Rose, I agree, but I still think Bianca Belair is the winner of female performer of the year.
Actually now when we go through this whole thing, I think even in the match of the year for women's, we missed a nomination, but not the winner. We picked the right choice.
We picked the right choice. This is a match even Putty saw. Yeah.
So what's the next category?
Next category is female match of the year.
Oh wow.
So female match of the year, the nominees in this category are Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich 1. We have Kyrie versus Mayu Iwatani from Historic Crossover. We have the Queen of the Mountain match from Slammiversary in general. We have Bianca Belair versus Bayley, the first match that they had. And we have the 4-way match when Thunder Rosa went away, the match between Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, and Toni Storm. Those are the nominees. Which one was the one you said we missed the boat on?
The 3-way match at Worlds Collide.
Yes.
The best Mandy Rose match, but it still wouldn't have won. So
no,
regardless. Yeah.
Putty, go ahead, take it away.
Okay. Well, it's
Putty. Do you want to?
No, I don't know. Yeah. It's like I'd have to look back on those because I just can't remember at the moment, even with some of those matches.
Well, I'll tell you who the winner was.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mayu Iwatani versus Kairi Sane at
Historic Crossover.
The New Japan versus Stardom.
Yep, that was definitely the female match of the year.
I genuinely don't even think it was close.
No, this put female wrestling in a category now that we are holding every other female match in a standard to, that it doesn't, like, every match that we've watched since can't compare to this match, because this match was,
I mean,
like, if you haven't seen it, Caps, I would go out of your way to see it.
Slamovich versus
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace was also pretty amazing.
You just recently watched the second one. They had it Overdrive, right?
But
which was just as good.
Even there was that 3-way match at the Ric Flair event that was really good. I don't even remember who was in it.
It was what was her name now? The one that got hurt.
Her dad was the guy from Legion of Doom.
Yes, not Blanchard, the other girl. Ellering and Jordan Grace and can't remember the third one now. Was it Perazo? And Perazo.
Well, Perazo. That was a good match.
Yeah, that was a good match.
You guys say Kairi Sane? Is that what you guys said? Is that the old partner of Asuka?
Yep, that is her. She is now the New Japan Women's Heavyweight Champion. She is the first ever. She won the inaugural championship.
Interesting.
That's that match you caught last week with us, Putty.
No, that's what I was about to say. It was funny when you guys said that. I said, "Oh yeah, I do remember." I was just watching that, and I forgot that was actually just this year that happened. So I agree. Yeah, that would be on top, not just because of how good the match was, but how big of a impact it was going to have in changing things. Because like ever since we had this discussion about New Japan, I was like, when you guys ever brought the other league that had the females and everything, I was like, oh, this is New Japan. You guys, no, there's no females in New Japan. I'm like, it always confused me until you guys had to just basically run it down and explain to me. So when you guys showed this to me, I understood the meaning of why it was so special now, because we were there when it wasn't to when it is allowed, that.
And I think it's something that a lot of companies skip over, especially in the States. I mean, AEW does it from time to time, and Impact seems to do it decently in the women's division. But it's like this emotional story of like Impact. Like you're looking ringside and all of the women outside the ring are crying. The announcer's crying. And it's like both women in the ring are crying. And it's like, you're like,
not just from emotion,
happening?
But from pain. Like,
like
they were destroyed at the end of this match.
But this is like one of the most important wrestling like events.
Probably of the decade.
Maybe of the decade, because there's never been a women's title in New Japan. There's never been women technically part of New Japan.
That's exactly the point.
So for them to be the first ones and being the trendsetter and changing the entire face of the whole way all of wrestling works there now has been completely changed.
And from what they're saying, we could be seeing Kairi versus Sasha Banks for the New Japan Women's Championship soon.
Which, hey, Sasha Banks sucks, but I'll take that match.
It'll be a money draw. It will be a money draw.
Exposure.
So we are moving into our final two categories. Our top male talent of the year. The nominees in this category are Will Ospreay, Chris Jericho, Jay White, Josh Alexander, Pac, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Kazuchika Okada, Jon Moxley, and Braun Breaker. I can't see what I wrote. Those are the 10 nominees for the group. Who would you guys, Caps and Putty, who would you guys say is your standout male talent of the year?
Caps, go ahead, because I got
Chris Jericho.
Okay.
Chris, I don't know what he's been drinking as of late, but that guy has this ability to really just take over and put people over and just get the crowd into it and man, like that guy's he's I think I said it before and I'll say it again, he's got to be one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But in terms of match quality, Ospreay is probably one hell of a talent, man. That
It's funny that you said that about Chris Jericho, because we were talking about that earlier, and it's like he's still setting trends to this point. Like right now, the whole thing outside of WWE and New Japan is every time someone's doing a
Yeah.
fight where they like hit someone and they're doing the count, or when someone's outside the ring and they're doing the count, every time they get to 8, everyone goes
It's
ocho.
So now they're going 6, 7, ocho, 9.
But they like scream it, and it's become like this whole thing, and it's like he's still having such an impact. He's putting people
Yeah.
over.
It seems like he's turned back the hands of time. This guy.
His ring work is so good that you don't even notice him in the ring. Like, it feels like, wow, Chris Jericho's not even doing anything. No, he's the one carrying this match.
The match. When I talk to
so
to
subtle.
people who haven't watched wrestling in years, and I mentioned Chris Jericho, they're like, Chris Jericho's still going. I'm like, Chris Jericho is one of the top talents still.
It's
Like,
funny because I say the same. It happens to me all the time too,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. He just goes.
yeah, and we were saying in a previous video that Jericho arguably has to be like in contention now for one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I think it's
I mean,
inarguable.
Yeah,
he's to me, he's better than some of the people that we've considered the greatest of all times.
well, I mean, think
before.
about Jericho is what he's what 51 now, 50, 51.
I think he's 53.
53. Okay, where was Ric Flair at 53? Ric Flair was having
Ric Flair
Drinking-
looks how he does
drinking
now
a
at
bar.
53.
yeah. But I mean
Drinking at a bar.
that's the thing. Ric Flair at 53, that was what the Evolution era in WWE.
And let's
Like,
not forget,
when-
Chris Jericho going into Forbidden Door got into like the best shape he might have ever been in his life.
Yeah. Because when he first joined AEW, he was a little thick.
But you can't
Well, like
knock him.
In the beginning,
No.
he was putting on some good matches, and then something happened where like he just got really big, and
They put him into a really cartoony situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
For
then
most
all
of the
a sudden this
pandemic.
year, like in February, all of a sudden he just shows up and he's ripped. I'm like, what the hell?
And he kept and like, I don't know, he's just banger match after banger match. I know this is not even our
And
choice
he's not
yet.
even our pick. Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, hold on, one more thing. When you watch New Japan, when you watch AEW, when you watch anything in Europe, it's widely considered in Europe, but they all talk about Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler of all time. I genuinely think that Chris Jericho, because of his longevity and the fact that at 53 he's still putting on matches as good as he did when he was 20 something, is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
yeah,
I could
so-
agree with that.
One of the greatest performers as well. Like
Yeah, like his
Yeah.
everything, the character, the mic work, everything. Putty, what do you have to say?
Well, here's the thing.
Before he starts to cry.
No, here's the thing. When I told Cats, go ahead, because I knew I was going to pick Chris Jericho. I thought it was typical, and it's funny. I'm just sitting here talking about hearing you guys praise, and I get excited to jump in because I felt like you guys knew that would be the one I would pick. But I wanted to say before I did that, I wanted to also bring up another one that I've been seeing, recommended again for this one. I haven't watched in a while. But I want to give praise to Seth Rollins because I feel like he's been doing the same thing that Chris Jericho is doing, where he's able to remake himself and do something that's entertaining. It's surprising that he's actually the keeper. Like, I feel like if we're taking anybody from the Shield and saying who's holding up WWE, screw Roman Reigns.
I don't think
It's Seth
either
Rollins.
of those wrestlers are even remotely in a class with Seth Rollins, John Moxley, or Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Not
See what
even
I'm
close.
saying?
Not at all.
And I want to make sure that I put that out there because before was going to get all giddy about Chris Jericho, I was going to say, I want to at least put that out there because when I thought about Chris Jericho, I was like, who else is kind of like that? And Seth Rollins is kind of going in that same path. Tell me I'm wrong. Doesn't it feel like Seth Rollins is kind of going on that path that kind of
Yeah.
Chris Jericho does when it comes to
And
wrestling?
Seth
as a
Rollins
character?
has been relatively healthy for his whole career.
Yeah.
So I could imagine 15 years from now, if he stays healthy, he's going to be the Chris Jericho
Yeah.
of WWE.
He
Well,
definitely
Chris
has-
Jericho was the Chris Jericho, but
You
it's still
guys
be the
say
Seth
that.
Rollins.
But in terms of someone who probably, like, other than his stint in Ring of Honor, Rollins has been a WWE guy and probably will be a WWE guy
Yeah,
forever.
two of the only heels that are such massive, terrible heels that everyone sings their theme song.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Going with that, Campo, our pick for male performer of the year was Will Ospreay. I mean,
I don't even know, man. You can't. We just praise Chris Jericho, but like,
yeah,
Will Ospreay is on another level. I've said this 100 times already by now.
Mhm.
Should he stay healthy in the same conversation as Kenny Omega? You're talking arguably the greatest in-ring worker of all time. I've
Yeah.
never seen anything like it.
I will agree, because the thing is, how I don't like him as a character. And see, that's the reason why when you guys said the list, I said, why do I feel like this is going to win? Only because here's the thing. He needs to really change, I feel like, his character design a little bit as far as charisma and how he is to play off a character. But yes, as far as ring work, he's amazing. And he's tall too. For some of the stuff he could do, it's reminiscent of I'm just trying to think of old wrestlers that were tall that could do all those gymnastics. But
Alex Wright.
Yeah.
Nice. No, but this is the thing. The way he was presented, we actually talked about this recently. The way he was presented on American TV in AEW is not the character that he is in New Japan. They purposely made him a different character.
They
to
made
get
him
over
a
for
heel.
the American
Yeah.
audiences.
They
Because
made him
in
more of a
Japan,
heel.
he's like a douchebag. He's not a heel. He's like Seth Rollins. He's like a heel, but you like him still. He's not like MJF, where like you just don't like MJF.
Yeah.
But his in-ring work is just in match of the year, you're going to see it. We arguably half the category was going to be Will Ospreay matches, and we had to
narrow it down.
narrow them down.
Yeah.
Because it's just been match after match after match, and all
his
I can
consistency, his like every match has been a fantastic match,
and his constant willingness to reinvent himself in every match to match the person he's facing.
Yeah.
Well, if that's going to be the case, then there's only one that I want, and I already know what that. You guys probably already know what it is. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Like before we go to it.
Yeah. Congratulations to Will Ospreay.
Congratulations to Will Ospreay, and also Will Ospreay is going to face Kenny Omega
at Wrestle Kingdom. Putty's. You want to pick up your jaw?
No way.
We
really?
never showed you the. We never showed you the thing.
When is Wrestle Kingdom?
January 4th.
Yeah, January 4th.
You got me. I guess I'm watching.
There was a crazy promo.
Putty,
we can watch the
back.
promo
Go back
this.
and watch our video last week.
Okay.
Don't even watch our video. When this video's done filming, we are going to show you the promo.
We're going to show you
because it's a pretty good promo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he has to see the promo. That's right. That was such a good promo. But congratulations to Will Ospreay. You are our male performer of the year. So with that, we are heading into our final category, our match of the year, men's match of the year. The nominees in this category, you're going to see a pattern here. Will Ospreay versus Tetsuya Naito at the G1 semifinals. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door. We have Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes 2 at Backlash. We have Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash at the Castle. And we have Chris Jericho against Bryan Danielson at All Out.
Oh, no, I forgot about that one too. Shit.
Yeah, this one was a tough category to pick. Some of the ones that didn't make the list were Will Ospreay versus Shota Umino and Will Ospreay versus Kazuchika Okada in the G1 finals. So Will Ospreay, we had to narrow some of the matches down, but those are the nominees.
Yeah, the Cody Rhodes one, is that the one where he had the thing?
No, that's the one before that.
That was a good match, but the one he had at Backlash.
All the Cody Rhodes matches versus Seth Rollins would have made the list had it been bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
There would have been a lot of more matches. We had Hangman versus CM Punk. We had Hangman versus Cole. There was a few big ones on there, but we had to narrow down the list at some point.
See,
Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy.
That's my pick. Here's my thing. But they work off each other so well. And I think, Campo, you were the one telling me that I would like that because they work so. I think you were the one that told me I would like that because of that. Because I'm a big Orange Cassidy fan, but Ospreay I don't like. But it's then I started saying Will Orange Spray, Orange Cassidy. We got the drinks involved. But my principal thing is
the drinks involved.
Throwing a little bit of the bubbly with Chris Jericho.
It's freshly squeezed. I'm just saying it's freshly squeezed. I'm going to give it to that. I agree with Caps on this. It was such a great match.
Okay. Campo, what is the winner?
I hope it's the one I'm going to say right now, and I hope it's Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay at the G1 semifinals.
That is the one. Yes.
I agree with Caps. I agree.
It was pretty close.
It was honestly, it was pretty close.
It was going to be one or the other.
It was going to be a Will Ospreay match, no matter what. as the way it was going. Notice how there was not a single Roman Reigns match on this.
I mean, but I don't think
wonder
any of his
why.
matches were of that. The only one that I did mention one, was against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
At SummerSlam.
Because it was such a spectacle of a match that
Yeah.
at least nomination-wise, it could have been there.
But I mean,
that was not going to win.
no. But
Gunther and Sheamus was way closer to winning.
We can call this category a double tie because Will Ospreay was mentioned in both I guess cases. Ours is Will Ospreay versus Tetsuya Naito in the G1 semifinals. That was just the way, especially the last 5 minutes, the false finishes, the close calls. It was just so much better. I mean, you can't be hard pressed because Ospreay finally won his championship this year in the All Atlantic Championship. So good for him. But it was a hard decision between those two matches, but we decided to go with the Naito match.
See, no, okay, I agree. It's okay. I'm not going to disagree. But also,
After all, it's my show.
No, I get it. But Caps, I'm gonna defend it with Caps and everything. It's a good little debate to talk about it because I'm sorry, that Orange Cassidy match, there was so much charisma and fun that was going into that match too.
Yeah,
like just because I mean, it's just oh man,
I think so too. That was the match of the night for that pay-per-view for sure.
That's my whole point. Like I get that. I sometimes for me, and it's always going to be this way. And this is why I love doing this podcast, is because I love that you guys put a lot of the technical matter, but for me, it's always the spectacle over technical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I wanted to watch technical, I'd go watch the one, the ones that they do in in college and all that kind of stuff. Kurt Angle wrestling. You know what I mean? So my point is,
you just gave me an idea for a new T-shirt, Putty. We're gonna put you in a singlet and say spectacle over technical.
Let's do it.
And you're gonna be fighting.
It's gonna say spectacle, technical, testicles, watch.
So I got a few T-shirt ideas now.
Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch.
Yeah, it's true. That is how I am, and I think you guys realize that by now. I am over spectacle over technical, but I realize it's there. You know what I mean? It's just
whereas I appreciate more. I appreciate the art itself of wrestling as well. So I think that's one of the reasons why we decided to go with the Tetsuya Naito match. And just
mind you, you've never seen it, so
yeah.
It was like just two guys putting everything on the line.
Yeah.
Like the semifinal match was better than the finals match. And the finals match was a candidate for match of the year.
But with that, guys, thank you again for joining us. Let me know in the comments below what you guys would choose for your winners in all these categories. I will leave a note in the description box below with the categories and the winners. So if you guys want to check that out, that will be in the description box below. But watch the video first, please. It helps a lot. And with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. And we'll see you next year. Salud.
El Segundo.
El Segundo. Ocho.